All right, let's talk about a conversation that makes most of us, a little bit nervous, but has the power to totally change our financial lives: salary negotiation. It's a skill, and just like any other skill, you can get really good at it. Okay, let's dive in.
So let me ask you a question, straight up. When you get a job offer, are you leaving thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars on the table? For way too many people, the answer is a painful yes. But we are going to change that, starting right now.
The best way to think about this whole thing is to frame it differently. Think of salary negotiation like a game of tennis. Seriously, when they serve you an offer, they fully expect you to hit the ball back. If you just catch it and say thanks, well, the game's over before it even started. The real goal is to keep that rally going.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down the most common mistakes people make at every single stage, from your prep work to closing the deal. Think of this as your playbook, so you can step onto that court and play to win. First up, what happens before the conversation even begins? And this might actually surprise you, but two of the absolute biggest mistakes happen way before you ever talk to a hiring manager about money.
So what are these pitfalls? Well, number one is just going in totally blind because you didn't do your market research. I mean, if you don't do this, you have no idea what a fair offer even looks like. And number two is ignoring the company's internal pay structure. If you ask for a number that's way out of line with their salary bands, you can come off as pretty out of touch right from the start.
And this slide right here really illustrates the whole power dynamic. If you don't know the baseline salary for your role, you are completely at the mercy of whatever they decide to offer you first. In this game, knowledge isn't just power, it is absolutely profit.
Okay, now let's talk about that moment. The email hits your inbox, or you get the call. The first offer has arrived. This is such a critical point in the match, and how you react right here, in this moment, can change the entire outcome. So what is the single biggest unforced error you can make at this stage? It's simple: accepting that first offer on the spot. And look, I get it. You are so excited, you're relieved, and you just want to scream yes and go celebrate. But you have to remember, most companies expect you to negotiate. In fact, most first offers have about 10 to 15% of, let's call it, wiggle room already built right in. They've already created that space for this exact conversation. So if you accept immediately, you're not just ending the game, you're pretty much guaranteed to be leaving that money on the table.
Another huge mistake right here is revealing your current salary. As soon as you say that number, it creates what's called a psychological anchor. It tethers the whole negotiation to what you used to make, not what you're actually worth to them right now. You have got to pivot that conversation away from your salary history and towards your future market value.
Okay, so you've done your research, you've decided to counter, and now you are in the rally. This is where your words, and just as importantly, your silence, have incredible power.
One of the most common traps is using this kind of weak, apologetic language. Phrases like, "I'm so sorry to ask, but would it be possible?" That kind of talk just immediately undermines your entire position. It screams a lack of confidence in your own value. Now, of course, you want to be polite, but you also need to be direct. State your counteroffer clearly and confidently.
And here is a pro-level tip for you. Learn to embrace silence. After you make your counteroffer, just stop talking. I know it feels awkward, but what it does is it puts the ball right back in their court. More often than you'd think, the other person will feel this need to fill that silence, and sometimes they do it by improving the offer right then and there.
Two more quick traps to avoid when you're in the heat of the moment. First, talking too much. When we're nervous, it is so easy to just ramble on, but that can really weaken your position. You might even accidentally talk yourself down from your own number. Second, making it personal. Never, ever bring up your rent, your student loans, or your bills. This conversation is strictly business. It's about your professional value, not your personal finances.
All right, you're getting so close to an agreement, it's match point. Now is the time to close this deal smartly and not make any silly last-minute mistakes.
So, some people get tempted to bluff, to say they have a competing higher offer when they really don't. You have to be so careful here. This is a really risky move. If they call your bluff and ask for details you can't provide, you could destroy your credibility and maybe even lose the offer you're negotiating. It is just not worth the risk.
So how do you lock it in the right way? Just follow these 3 simple steps. First, get a clear verbal yes on all the new terms. Then, and this is the most crucial part, immediately ask for the updated offer in writing. Finally, review that written offer super carefully before you sign anything.
Remember, a verbal agreement is great, but it's not official until it's on paper.
And finally, let's talk about what is honestly the most important piece of this whole puzzle, your mindset. Because really, all the tactics and tricks in the world won't help you if your perspective is off.
The ultimate mistake, the one that gives away all of your power, is being afraid to walk away. Your real strength in any negotiation comes from your willingness to say no thank you to an offer that doesn't meet the value you established during your research. Saying yes out of fear can lead to some serious long-term regret.
So just remember this, you don't have to be some aggressive, table-pounding negotiator to be successful. You need to be smart about it. Be prepared, be confident, and always, always be professional.
So, the next time you get an offer, remember that tennis match. They've just served the ball, it is your move. Your next negotiation is a game you can absolutely win. The only question left is, are you ready to play?